We are so excited to talk with you. You read about you, but you just don't get to talk to you very often. When and where and how did you fall in love with opera music?
Well, I'm from South Africa in Piet Retief. I grew up there, and so I heard for the first time the advert of British Airways in 2001, and I was at home with my family, and we heard this ad on TV, and it was the first time for me to hear something like that. And I asked what it was, and I was told that it's called opera. And so at 16, I said to myself, is it humanly possible? Because for me, it seemed like something that's supernatural, that a human being cannot, have, the possibility to do it. And so I was told, yes, it is humanly possible. And I said, well, I need to do that. And that's how I started out.
Yes, it is possible. Sometimes you just need to hear those words. You need to see these examples, right, Vanessa?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's part of Essence's, legacy to showcase women who are doing incredible things across all different disciplines. And the story on Pretty actually was brought to me by our fashion and beauty director. I didn't know a lot about Pretty, and she said, we've got to do a story on her. She's phenomenal, and her story is so great. And as soon as I found out her story, I was like, you're absolutely right. We are doing this.
Absolutely.
It's inspiring.
It's so inspiring. Pretty, your piece talks about growing up in apartheid, how loving or making a career out of something like opera music wasn't afforded to blacks in South Africa. So were you ever discouraged growing up? Did you ever think this is just not going to happen?
Well, I was fortunate enough that I lived in a time, or I grew up in towns where it was not so much in our faces. So I grew up not actually being so aware of it, that when I fell in love with opera, I had no scars, if I can, because I grew up in a family that taught me that anything that I want to do, if I think it's right, then I can be able to do it. I was brought up not being told that I was different from the other person. And thank God for the opportunities that have been opened since, we have the Youth South Africa. I don't think if it was before, I would be talking to you right now.
Well, how did your voice get discovered? How did people find Pretty in South Africa? How did you become this huge, wonderful melodic star?
I've always been singing. I grew up in a family that sings in church, so singing has always been in the family. And in South Africa, we have a huge choral community. So music has always been there in choirs and school choirs and community choirs. After I heard about opera, I finished my studies actually in UCT in Cape Town. That's where I actually furthered my studies there. And seeing how every other colleague in front of me, were doing things, I said to myself, I got curious because I just found out about this opera thing and I want to know what it's about. Am I good enough to actually pursue it as a career? And so I thought of a way of coming to Europe. And so I started entering international competitions, and that's where I actually knew and I got to see the whole big world of opera.
And you've seen the whole big world of opera at places people could only imagine. Your very first performance at the Met was amazing and memorable for more than one reason, not just because you didn't sound beautiful, but because this just doesn't even sound real. You actually fell during your very first performance at the Met, right? What happened?
Well, I guess I will always say this. We always build castles in the air, but no one actually gives you the details. If I was told that on your debut at the Met, just even before you utter one single sound, you'd fell, I wasn't going to have the courage to stand there. And I guess life happens.
And life happens, and it takes you into incredible ways. You might have fallen, but once you sang, you got a standing ovation. So you went from the low of the low to the high of the high, right?
Because when you fall, you don't stay down. You still have legs. You can still walk on and continue walking. And that was the story for me. That now that I'm here in a place where they won't see me as a student anymore, I need to actually keep walking. And keeping walking is keeping my curiosity about the art and exploring the amazing gift that I've been entrusted with. And even if I fall, but the voice is there. The voice is always there carrying me through. All I need to do is just dust myself up and sing. And I love doing that. I love to sing.
Well, I love that. Do you have any advice for women or young girls who, because of law or because of circumstance, don't think that they can pursue what they love, whether it's opera or something else?
I think now more than ever, we're living in times where anything is possible. If I look at my journey, I'm told that what I've achieved is usually achieved in decades. And I've just been singing for the past 13 years, and I've achieved what I've achieved. It's amazing only because, well, one of the reasons, of course, was that I believed that there was something that I could do. And I believed that if I could learn, if somebody could teach me, I could do it. And the passion that I had helped me to actually work hard for it, helped me to be more into it, because you got to give it your all.
I love it. I cannot wait to see you in person. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.